In today's economy, standing still isn't just a bad strategy. It can be, well, fatal. Getting through all this volatility, it takes more than just reacting. You need a deliberate, proactive plan for innovation. So let's dive into a playbook that's not just about surviving this storm, but actually thriving in it.
Here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the storm clouds gathering on the economic horizon. Then, we'll talk about why innovation is the only real antidote, and we'll break down 4 totally different ways you can go about it. We'll also cover the cautionary tale of what happens when you just don't. And finally, we'll connect these classic strategies to the incredible tools we have in the AI era.
Okay, so that gathering storm. Let's get real about what that means. The business landscape right now is turbulent, to say the least. There's this massive feeling of uncertainty that makes planning for the future feel, well, almost impossible.
And wow, this number, it just says it all, doesn't it? A staggering 69% of CEOs are gearing up for a recession, and a lot of that is being driven by proposed new tariffs. I mean, that is a huge collapse in business confidence, and it kind of sets the tone for everything else.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract thing for the boardrooms. These policies hit home, literally. The average American household is looking at about a $1,300 new tax burden next year. When you squeeze consumers like that, it sends ripples of uncertainty through the entire market.
And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. And it's not just a feeling, the data backs it up. 95% of CFOs say this kind of policy chaos directly messes with their decisions. I mean, how can you invest and grow when it feels like the rules of the game are changing every 5 minutes?
And it's not just the big policy stuff, right? Businesses are fighting these battles on so many internal fronts. You've got inflation crushing your margins. You've got a massive talent shortage, making it ridiculously hard to find good people. And that last number is just wild. For companies that know they have a digital skills gap, 91% say it's actively hurting their performance.
So you've got all these headwinds. It sounds pretty bleak, right? So what's the answer? Well, this brings us to the whole point of this explainer. Innovation isn't some luxury anymore. It's not a nice to have. It is the essential, strategic response you need to survive.
And if you look at the data, the answer is crystal clear. The companies that are really growing, we're talking at least 4 times the rate of GDP, they are 40% more likely to call themselves innovators. That's not a coincidence, folks. That is a direct line between a culture of innovation and actually winning.
Okay, so we know innovation is the key. But innovate is a big, kind of vague word, isn't it? How do you actually do it? Turns out, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. So we're going to unpack 4 very distinct, very actionable playbooks for creating value. So here they are in a nutshell. You've got the first, the ones creating brand new categories. Then there's the focused, which is all about owning a specific niche. After that is the frequent, for the masters of rapid-fire, on-trend releases. And last, the finder, the ones who find needs you didn't even know you had. Let's break them down. All right, let's kick things off with the first model. These guys, they are the absolute game changers. They aren't just building a better version of something, they're inventing something totally new, usually with some breakthrough tech or a wild new business model. They make life not just better, but different.
Want a perfect example? Look at Arian's company. Way back in 1933, they invented the first American-made rotary tiller. It completely changed agriculture. But here's the key. They didn't just sit on that one idea. They kept building on it, moving into new markets as suburbs grew, always staying ahead. That's the first model in action.
Next up, we have the focused model. This isn't about being first to the party. It's about being the undisputed king of your own tiny kingdom. These companies find a specific niche and just own it, becoming so good at that one thing that the big general companies can't even compete with them.
GSW is a fantastic case study here. They're an ad agency, and they made a super smart, deliberate choice to focus only on healthcare. By doubling down, as they put it, they built this incredible, deep expertise that made them the automatic go-to for big pharma. They created massive value by narrowing their focus.
All right, let's switch gears to the frequent model. This one is all about speed. It thrives in industries that move a mile a minute, like food and fashion. These companies are total masters of iteration. They literally live or die by how fast they can spitball new ideas and guess what the next big trend is going to be.
And you want to see a company that just lives and breathes this? Noodles & Company. They think of innovation like a constant pipeline. They've always got one set of ideas being cooked up, another set being tested in the market, and a third set that's about to launch. It's not about one big idea. It's a never-ending cycle of freshness.
And that brings us to our 4th and final model, the finder. This one's all about heart. It's driven by pure passion and craftsmanship. These companies create things you didn't even know you wanted, but once you have them, you can't imagine life without them. It's all about that deep, emotional connection.
I mean, if you've ever had Jenny's splendid ice creams, you get this model. It's the perfect example. They took ice cream, a simple commodity, and turned it into this curated artistic experience. The product is the brand, and it's so unique and beloved that people are willing to pay way more for it than for any other ice cream.
Okay, so we've seen 4 awesome, proactive ways to grow. But what happens if you do nothing? This is the model you don't choose. This is the one you just sort of fall into.
Yeah, they call it the FAT model, short for fat and happy. And trust me, it's not a compliment. This is what happens when you get successful and then you get lazy. The company gets so obsessed with squeezing every last penny out of what they already do that they stop taking risks, they stop making new bets, they lose their hunger.
And of course, the poster child for this, the cautionary tale we all know, is Blockbuster. Just look at these 2 paths. While the disruptors were pouring money into streaming and subscription models, what was Blockbuster doing? They were opening more stores and selling more candy. They were busy perfecting an old model, just as a new one was about to make them completely obsolete.
So here's the really cool part. These 4 models we talked about, first, focused, frequent, and finder, they are timeless strategies. They've always worked, but the tools we have now to pull them off, they are brand new and they are changing the game, all thanks to AI.
So that brings us to the big question. For you, for every business leader out there right now, with all these economic problems and the absolute need to innovate, how do you actually do it? How do you do it faster and better than ever before?
And the answer really is all about connecting that timeless strategy with today's technology. Modern tools, ones built for humans and AI to collaborate, can basically structure that whole messy front end of innovation for you. It doesn't matter if you're a first or a frequent, these tools let you test ideas, validate concepts, and figure out your best bets before you pour tons of money into them. It just shrinks the timeline and lowers the risk. So the question isn't whether you should innovate, but how you're going to use these new tools to do it. What's your next move?